Aerodrome Finance, decision time for the Aero price. My name is mikemadz. Let's start this video. Before I start the video, as always, Aero community, make some noise. Every comment matters, every like matters. Engagement is super important for this video. The more people engage, the more potential buyers are gonna see this video, the better it's gonna be for us. Pretty simple. This is it. Appreciate you. Let's start. All right, let's stop wasting time. Let's jump straight into it. Today I want to cover the good for Aerodrome. Couple new findings here that are very optimistic for the Aero token. The bad, unfortunately, of course, nothing is absolutely perfect here. We have some things we need to talk about. Price action of the Aero token itself, where we are heading here in this next couple of days and weeks, and something you should be doing right now as we speak. Let's start. All right, let's starting off with the good here. Of course, the things most people like to hear, especially if they hold the Aero token, things that are music to your ears, of course, but things that are important for the Aero token. And that is, of course, we are bullish on Aerodrome because we are bullish on the layer 2 base blockchain itself. And this is why it's super important to take a look at base and how things are moving for base itself. And if mass adoption is happening on base and if liquidity is trickling into base, and take a look at that. The first thing is the TPS, guys. What are TPS? TPS is simply transactions per second. And as you can see here, yesterday was the first day finally where base hit 50 TPS, over 50 TPS. This is super important. Why is that? For mass adoption, guys, you need a blockchain that's fast and you need a blockchain that is cheap. Pretty simple here. You don't want to have a blockchain with 5 TPS. Where simple transactions here, especially if you're paying for something, take minutes, and where simple transactions cost $20, $30. And this is where the layer 2 base comes into play, as unfortunately transaction cost on Ethereum is still super slow and is still super expensive. Most people cannot afford to pay $10 for a simple transaction. Doesn't make any sense, guys. This is why we are so bullish on the base blockchain itself. And of course, as liquidity, guys, flows into base, this liquidity will flow into the main DEX of base, which is Aerodrome. And this is why we are so bullish on the Aerodrome itself. One side note here, while 50 TPS is impressive, this needs to improve here. But as you can see also, this trend is slowly but surely moving to the upside. But comparing this 50 TPS to Solana, there's still lots of room to grow to the upside. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. One thing that's super impressive though for Aerodrome and for base itself is the volume that's flowing in. As you can see here, base now has the top EVM volume pair. And this pair, of course, is on Aerodrome. As you can see here, the wrapped Ethereum to USDC pair with the most volume here, with almost $140 million in 24 hours. This speaks volume, guys. This speaks a lot. This means a lot for Aerodrome itself also. So if you are in Aerodrome, you're betting on the main liquidity hub of base. Pretty simple. A very easy trade, especially if you are bullish on the base blockchain itself. And also last but not least, here we have the Aerodrome to Ethereum chart. Very important, guys. Make sure to have it on TradingView. You simply type in Aerodrome Ethereum and you compare those two. Why is this important? This is super important because we don't want to take on more risk, guys, for less gains. This would not make any sense, guys, and this is not the reason we hold Aerodrome. If this was the case, we simply just hold Ethereum. Pretty simple. And this is why this comparison is very crucial, especially for Ethereum altcoins or layer 2s. As you can see here, we had this massive run up here for Aerodrome against Ethereum. Since March, April here, as you can see here, Aerodrome is simply bleeding against Ethereum. Ethereum was simply outperforming Aerodrome, long story short. But also to note here, and this is why it's under the good section, since June or beginning of July, we finally have this crazy move to the upside with almost 100% outperformance here. Aerodrome outperforming Ethereum. This is super important, and keep an eye on this, especially here as this closes here and confirms above the bull market support band. This trend, most probably in my personal opinion, should move to the upside with the time frame where we see this massive Aero pump, retesting the all-time high and finally breaking out. We'll see how this goes. Also interesting time frame as the ETTF now, of course, is up and running, and we'll see how the inflows play into that and if Ethereum can finally catch a bid or not. But again, this is one of the most important developments here on Aerodrome, finally being able to outperform Ethereum. All right, coming to the bad, of course, guys, nothing is perfect. No blockchain, no ecosystem is absolutely flawless. And if you think that, then most probably you're emotional, and emotional traders make huge mistakes, especially when it's time to get rid of the token. And this is why it's super important to differentiate and to see where things are lacking or not. And this is one of the main reasons here for base here, in my personal opinion. Currently, the base narrative is simply taking a breather here. Some of you might have remembered here a couple months ago, basically, when the base narrative was huge, projects were doing 50, 60x, Aerodrome was on the come up, liquidity and volume was flowing into base, and the narrative was that base is gonna flip Solana. Currently, that narrative is taking a breather, and one of the most important things is we have to see if this narrative was a short-term hype or if things are actually moving in the right direction, and if this narrative in the volume is coming back in a parabolic fashion or not. Of course, while some pairs here, like the Ethereum to USDC pair, have lots of volume, unfortunately, some pairs here and some projects are simply lacking volume here on base. And this is the best representation here. As you can see here, couple meme coin pairs on Solana. Simply one meme coin here, the Nero meme coin, combined had more volume, guys, than the entire base ecosystem. And this sums it up perfectly. The number one we need to track here is liquidity flowing back into base here sooner or later. Is volume spiking here, especially of some of the other projects. Guys, Aerodrome is not the only project here on base. We need to see volume also flowing into other projects and for the entire ecosystem to grow. And this is, in my personal opinion, one thing you need to monitor, and this will be one of the things we will monitor here on this channel, simply seeing if volume is gonna flow back into the base ecosystem, causing that base narrative, this base hype to come back or not. If you ask me personally, Mike, do you think it's gonna come back? Yes, I truly believe so. And in my personal opinion, this initial base pump was only just the beginning here. This parabolic mania phase for base itself and for base project is still ahead of us, especially once retail comes back, uses Coinbase. This Coinbase ecosystem is absolutely perfect for retail onboarding, and this will be the moment where volume flows massively into base and especially into Aerodrome, etc. So we'll have to see how this develops. All right, taking a look at the price action, the most important thing here, of course, as an investor, we'll have to see where the price is going here, and especially in the short term, is this over here, is the worst over, or are things looking bright here, and can we finally move back up here to the all-time high or not? Take a look at the chart here. In my last video, I told you things are looking like they're forming into a bull flag formation, and usually bull flags, of course, are continuation patterns that pump to the upside. Currently, again, this is looking like it. We had a beautiful retest here of the bull market support band of Aerodrome itself, forming that bull flag. And I personally expect here, especially as Bitcoin is finally looking absolutely bullish, I expect a continuation here in the next couple of days, latest next week, especially, of course, guys, if Bitcoin still is healthy. So make sure you have your position. Of course, if you are bullish on Aerodrome, it does not make sense to be sidelined right now. This is what I'm saying. Make sure to have your chips and be ready for this upcoming move. But also at the same note, make sure to have invalidation levels. If this flips bearish all of a sudden, guys, this is crypto, anything can happen. And if we fall here with the weekly close below the bull market support band, with the confirmed close, then it is time to prepare for a higher low here or to retest those lows. So make sure to be prepared for each scenario. But again, things are looking absolutely bullish in my personal opinion. And if you would ask me here, guys, if you put a gun to my head, someone would force me, Mike, show me where this is going. This is simply my personal hunch here. Of course, guys, this is impossible to predict. Nobody can predict exact price movements. This should be just a visual representation, especially time-wise here, this being Q4, where Aerodrome can be heading. And this also should show you, again, this does not mean we don't have any corrections anymore. Most people will be shaken out, especially in those corrections, as those rallies here are suckers rallies here, disbelief rallies, where people just simply sell because they don't think this is a sustained rally and they get left behind. So make sure to be prepared for each scenario. Before we should be at high levels than we are right now. And I am bullish right now on the price action of Bitcoin, of course, which again leads the way, and especially on Aerodrome here, which looks like to be finally ready to break out. Again, this $1 level will be crucial to finally push through, and then the sky is the limit. Do this right now. Guys, we are at a very crucial time level, and we are a very crucial point of the cycle, and this is why it's important right now. If you're holding Aerodrome, make sure to have a plan, guys. Have a plan, prepare for it, whether it be mentally or stepwise, and then once those steps happen, price targets, etc., you need to perform, you need to act on them. Very, very important, guys. Most people don't have a plan. They just buy a token, hope for the best, hope for a certain number, and then just get absolutely wrecked here, while most people dump on them and you ride your token all the way down minus 90%. Many people have done it, I've done it. Usually the first cycle, 99% of people in the first cycle do it. Learn from mistakes of others, have a plan, set price targets for yourself. Make sure to have your own expectation here of the Aero token. And then the most important thing is, guys, once this expectation is met, make sure to execute on it. Sell, move on, etc. This is super important, and this is something I cannot do for you. You cannot mimic exactly what I'm doing here, because at the end of the day, guys, I'm just a simple human being and I can be massively wrong here. This is just simply reality. I'm not here trying to brag about my 100% win rate. Nobody has a 100% win rate, and most people just simply lie about that. I'm not one of them. I'm not here to make money out of your trades, etc. Make sure to have a plan, prepare for it, and then execute on it. And of course, you can follow me on my journey and you can take a look at what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, guys, you need to decide on your own. Super, super important. And of course, the other thing you should be doing right now, as I always say, guys, make use of your Aero tokens. Pretty simple. I choose the seamless protocol. Again, the safest, base native, and the return you get on there is simply attractive enough with the right risk to reward, in my personal opinion. Doesn't make sense to have 100-200% APY and to get rugged the next week. This is why I choose seamless here, and you don't have to worry about liquidation issues, etc. If you hold Ethereum, which in my personal opinion, in every portfolio there should be some Ethereum. If you hold Ethereum, make sure to have an eye on this ILM pair they have, Ethereum pair. As you can see here, it's pretty popular, so you need to wait for them to increase the cap. Why is that? Because you get almost 100% return here on the Ethereum. Crazy attractive, and you don't see that too often. But again, long story short, make use of your Aero token. You don't have any risk here of impermanent loss, and you simply increase your position size without adding any additional funds here from your own. Very important. At the end of the day, guys, the most important thing is, as always, make sure to do your own research. Very important. Be bullish on yourself. That yields the most returns. And the most important thing is, as always, don't get wrecked.
Giving up from blue tops like Mars Simpson, just hard discipline, pot simmering, cooking up, no rocks in the pan, watching the plan form in the sand, bidding castles out of thoughts in our head, late nights, no sleep in my bed, trying to see my dreams manifest. Look at that, now look at that, we nice. Put the past on ice,